Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the WWE podcast with Aiden Willis. You listen to Smackdown review for the 3rd of March. It's WrestleMania weekend. Super excited. 2-day event. So we got Saturday night and we got Sunday night. So it's going to be a little bit different. I don't want to touch too much on the coronavirus and the COVID-19 situation. Lockdown is rubbish. We all know it. Self-isolating is rubbish. So as I said last week, as everyone is saying, follow the government guidelines. Hope everyone's staying safe and making the most of it. But this weekend, if you're working, if you're a key worker, or if you've got some time off just from like working at home, or even if you've just been off all week, look, now we've got something to look forward to. As I said, we've got Saturday night, we've got Sunday night, we've got WrestleMania, the big spectacle, the uncertainty of what's going to happen. The chances are it's all going to be pre-recorded. In fact, it is all pre-recorded. I don't think that's going to make much difference. I haven't seen actually any real leaks online, which is surprisingly, because I thought that I would, from the social media world that we live in, the society that we live in. I think there was going to be some leaks from the pre-recordings, but there hasn't been. There's just been the usual rumours and speculation that you'd normally get in a WrestleMania build-up or any Raw and Smackdown build-up. So that's going to be good. I'm going to actually do 2 episodes, if that's okay with everyone. And if it's not, then don't listen. But hopefully you do. Hopefully you enjoy it. But I'm going to do this Smackdown review for the 3rd of March that aired yesterday, because I'm just doing it on a Saturday morning. And then I'm also going to do a WrestleMania review, but not a WrestleMania review that Matt and I'm sure another co-host will do, or a few co-hosts might get together and do it. What I'm going to do is a Smackdown WrestleMania review. So all the matches is pretty much I'm going to talk about in the 3rd of March episode today. So I'm going to give a little bit of a review of what happened on SmackDown, and then I'm going to do my predictions, and then also what I want to see, because obviously what some of my predictions are is not necessarily what I want to see. And if you listen to my episodes regularly each week, you'll get to know that I like to give my own opinion of what I like to see. I've been watching wrestling a long time, so hopefully you understand and you get a feel for what I like to see. And then I'll do a full sort of WrestleMania review of them matches to see if I got anything right, what I liked, what I didn't like, and what we're probably going to be leading into after WrestleMania in the build-up towards the summer. So, without further ado, we'll start off. The Usos, New Day and Miz and Morrison, it kicked off with Miz TV. Michael Cole introduced the Miz and Morrison, but the Usos came out first. They did their little thing coming down the ramp. The New Day interrupted them and they did like a promo in the ring. Now, as I said last week, these 2 tag teams have unbelievable chemistry. They just work so well together. I believe they're very good friends as well in real life. It just works. Everything about them, the history, the matches they've had, everything about the whole like sort of rivalry, the fact they've worked together before, the fact they've like been against each other before, all the respect is there, and it almost feels like they don't really need to try when they're together. I think it feels effortless, but it's so entertaining for me. So I loved it. Like, they did a little bit of like, the Usos were saying they were going to win, obviously New Day were saying they were going to win, blah blah blah, the usual back and forth, but it just works when them two teams are together. Miz and Morrison come out, and Miz is on the mic saying this is his show. Now, this actually worked for me because I actually thought it sounded alright, because what I've said in previous episodes is that the Miz is fantastic on the mic. We all know that, and Morrison isn't. So Morrison was simply the sidekick, and he was simply just answering the Miz's questions, so he didn't actually say much, and that worked. Like, it reminded me slightly of the New Age Outlaws. Like, the Road Dogg is basically the front man, he's the voice of the tag team, and Billy Gunn really just pipes in now and again, chips in now and again when he can, and that's all that was, and it worked. The Miz is fantastic on the mic. He said his bit, sort of like saying it was Miz TV, they're the champs, They won at Elimination Chamber against all the tag teams, and now they've just got to do it again in triple threat ladder match at WrestleMania. A brawl erupted using the ladders and using the ramp, and at the end of it, Miz and Morrison standing tall. They climbed up the ladder, and there was this sort of like visual of them above everyone on with the New Day and the Usos down on the ramp laying on the floor. Now, as I said last week, this is my match of the night. Like the ladder aspect, the actual ability and the chemistry of the tag teams will make to be, it's just an absolute spectacular match, which we've seen time and time again in these sort of matches now, in the ladder matches, and as I've said, with the New Day and Usos. Now, I would actually go as far to say that it has a potential to be a similar standard of match to a triple threat that we've all seen, that we will have all heard about, seen, remember, everything like that. The Dudleys, the Hardys, and Edge and Christian. Like, that was an absolute incredible match. The spots, the actual chemistry, the storyline behind it all. I think this has the potential to do it, because you've got all the superstars in this particular match can perform the big spots that are needed in a ladder match. Of course, you're going to get the big spots. Ladders are involved. And all of them possess the ability to keep the match interesting with just normal in-ring physicality and technicality. Like, you've got, for instance, Kofi, you've got Morrison doing the high-risk manoeuvres, potentially. I mean, the Usos still do high-risk manoeuvres, and even Big E, for his size, does high-risk manoeuvres, and we've actually seen that more from Miz recently. Like, in his feud with Shane McMahon, he was jumping off things just as Shane was, which was nice to see. It was a different side of Miz. Now, we all know each one of them can take a bump, so that makes it all interesting. And the fact that they just work so well together, and the experience of them all. None of them are new tag teams. None of them have just been put together and they're new. A bit like Heavy Machinery. I know that, granted, they're very experienced in terms of wrestling, but in terms of WWE, they're quite new. But if you look at the experience of this tag team, they know what to do. They know what they're doing. So I think it's going to be a great, great, great match. One thing I was pleased about, and I'm sure if I've got my regular fans or regular listeners, that you're probably waiting for it, that I was pleased that Miz and Morrison did not sing their little chant, the hey hey ho ho. Thank God they didn't. And it looks like they've got some new tagline in that Be Jealous. So hopefully they stick with that. Although I did see on social media they have made some music video for the hey hey ho ho ho, which was even worse than the chant. I mean, in my opinion, and presumption, they probably received that much stick for it that they probably gave up and binned off the song. So, at least I hope that is the case anyway. I mean, I do not like that chant in any way. But, I mean, the Be Jealous thing, I can't see it being absolutely huge tagline. It's a bit like Roman Reigns, like when he says that, believe that, or used to say believe that. Never really caught on. It's not something the crowd can shout with you. It's not something like the crowd can repeat after me type thing. So we'll see how that one plays out. My prediction, I'm not going to do any predictions where it's like, oh, this, like it could be them, but it could be them. I'm just going to try and do a flat out one winner type thing. And to be honest, I have not thought about any of my predictions too much, so I'm just going to do it like now, in my opinions, right in this second while I'm recording this podcast. I just feel like the way they've built this feud and the way they've built the tag team champions, I'm going to predict that Miz and Morrison retain. I know they won at Elimination Chamber. And the way for me, the way they've built it, they're a new tag team back together. My prediction is Miz and Morrison retain. What I would like to see, I think, is either the New Day or Usos win. For me, that would be better. Just because I love them tag teams, and I'd love them to have a feud, just them two again. Have some tables matches, have some, I don't know, whatever matches really. I love a ladder match, a TLC match, a Extreme Rules match, whatever, no holds barred, whatever, even just a normal singles match, like them, anything to do with them tag teams together is going to be one of my favourite things to watch. Next up we had Naomi versus Lacey Evans versus Tamina in a triple threat match. Now, I must say, actually, in the Performance Centre, the Naomi's entrance with the lasers, because the Performance Centre, if you don't know what PC means, it's because it's only small. I mean, the lasers look absolutely incredible, and the way she runs down the ramp, because it's only small, it just, for me, it just looked a little bit better than what it normally did. And then you had Bayley and Sasha on commentary ringside. So for me, Tamina's power and dominance really, really shone in this match, and her chemistry with Naomi was really, really obvious, which I haven't seen Naomi have that much chemistry with someone for quite a long time. It just looked like natural. The acrobatic style of Naomi with the power of Tamina, it helped Naomi's style because she was almost able to finish some of the moves, like the sunset flip. She actually performed very well, but some of the other sort of like leaps from either behind the ropes or just in the ring, Naomi doesn't always catch them right, where because of Tamina's strength, she was able to support the flip or support the leap in the air and then catch her and sort of like finish the move, if that makes sense. Where obviously a smaller competitor, to say she was doing it on Lacey Evans, might not be able to support her in the air, so it would sort of like look more botched than what it was meant to, or what it would be if it was Tamina in this case. I would have liked a bigger and longer build up for this match at WrestleMania, the Fatal 5-Way elimination match. I didn't know it was an elimination match until they said it, but it looks like it will be an elimination match, so the 5 of them will be going against each other. I just thought a longer build up would have been a little bit better, because you would have had the whole different variety and combinations of the singles match, and because I enjoyed this triple threat match in the way that Naomi and Tamina worked well together, you could have had Tamina versus Lacey on her own, and then you could have Naomi versus Bayley on her own, and then I know we've seen their matches before, or you could have had Tamina versus Sasha, Tamina versus Bayley. You could have had a very variety of different matches. They didn't have to be long. They could have been quick fire matches. You could have had 2 a night with the third person, well, the 5th person that didn't maybe have the match in that night get involved or something. It could have just been a quick fire just to see how everyone works together, because that's what I like to see, because then I know sort of what you're getting yourself into when you're watching it. Obviously there's a lot of uncertainty about this match for me, but yeah, that's what I would have preferred for the build up to WrestleMania. Bayley and Sasha as the heel commentators were absolutely exquisite, like with Sasha getting involved attacking Lacey and Bayley getting involved at the end attacking Naomi, leading to that super kick finish win for Tamina. It just works, the way they sort of like, I don't know, slag off the competition and then they get involved. It's just a typical heel thing to do. Then right after Tamina wins, Bayley gets in the ring and starts congratulating and thanking Tamina at the end, kissing up to her, and then Tamina had none of it. She super kicked Bayley and then performed a Samoan drop on Sasha. I mean, this match really built Tamina's power back immediately. I mean, going from a return last week followed by one show, and she's already seen as the huge powerhouse. But I mean, that was always the case when she was brought into this match, but the powerhouse with, now that we've had the exposure and to see the powerhouse style actually backed up in the ring, it just made it better. And I think the performance this week, it was just booked very, very well. So my prediction for this match, I think Sasha will win. I think Sasha Banks will win. I think it's inevitable that they're going to have a clash. I think that is really what's going to happen. I can see Lacey or Naomi getting eliminated first, and then ultimately ended in the 2, Bayley versus Sasha. And I think Sasha will get the better of Bayley. What I want, I don't actually want Bayley to retain, but it is in be the champion in a way. But what I would like her to do is backstab Sasha. So then we've got the storyline of Sasha being really the face and Bayley being the heel, because I feel like Bayley works a little bit better as a heel. So what I would like to see is, Bayley stab Sasha in the back, maybe get her eliminated, and then Bayley finishes with a win over whichever other members left. I think that's probably my preference. I'd probably go with that. And then that would lead to a nice little feud afterwards. Of course, if Sasha wins as well, which is actually my full-on prediction, that can also lead to the same type of feud, because Bayley could attack her maybe on Smackdown after Mania, or even at Mania. But we'll see. That's what I want on my prediction for this match. Next up, we had Tucker versus Dolph Ziggler, while Otis went off somewhere backstage after receiving a mystery text, which this text actually never really made much sense. It didn't really explain to me where or what the text was, but as I'll explain a little bit later. Now, the match itself, Tucker was not as powerful as I thought. Like, the strength wasn't present, and in terms of the size difference, which Michael Cole was explaining and kept referencing, it didn't really show. Like, of course, Dolph's experience and the technicality, like, he would be a better wrestler. He is a better wrestler, better performer. Like, Michael Cole touches on that. But then if the commentator is referencing the weight, the strength, the size, everything like that, and it's completely different to what you're seeing, because you're seeing the smaller man overpower the bigger man, what was WWE trying to do there? Like, was Michael Cole was clearly trying to, like, big up Tucker in a way, but while he's on the ground in a headlock by this smaller guy that really, in real life, he could probably overpower, like, very simply. I just didn't really understand that type of bit. Tucker did get some momentum, however, and he did show some power, but for me, his moveset in this particular match, it was very old school. Now, I have said I love old school in the past, but I like the old school moves that are good, that look effective, like a spinebuster. A spinebuster's been around for a long, long time. It looks good, it looks impressive, it looks like it probably does hurt, but, like, for instance, that normal slam or a sidewalk slam, which to me is a very, like, Hulk Hogan era type-esque, and of course I wasn't born when Hulk Hogan was, like, the top of his prime in WWE, but that type of style, it if you look back at them type of moves, they don't look like they hurt to me. Like, I'm sure if someone picked me up on the side and just slammed me, I'm not going to be in that much pain. I'm not going to be in the pain that Dolph Ziggler is trying to pull off, if that makes sense. Of course, it's going to hurt. You're falling on the floor, but it's not going to hurt to the extent that you're going to be completely overpowered. What I'm trying to say, in the same aspect, what I'm trying to say about Hulk Hogan's style is in his finishing move was a leg drop. Now, how many times have we seen leg drops or things like that in a normal match now that people don't even try and pin you after that? But back in the day, that was a finishing move. That's what I'm trying to explain. For me, it's just the believability of the moves that actually do the damage that they're trying to like pull off. Dolph gets disqualified by hitting a zigzag on the steps. Mandy and Sonya come out to stop Dolph's onslaught on Tucker, and then Otis comes out to save, and he checks up on Tucker as he lays on the steps. Now this flips to a vignette of the truth will be heard in some little computer hacker setup. Now I can only assume that this is going to be Mustafa Ali because of the light circle that's also on the screen, which he used to have on his hand, he used to have on his chest in his old entrance, and also we haven't seen him for a while. And actually, the frame of the actual guy, of course, we didn't see his face, so it could have actually been anyone. It didn't even have to be a wrestler, to be honest. But I'm sure that's where it's going to go. I've also heard rumours about that is Mustafa Ali because he's getting a new gimmick. It then played some backstage footage of Sonya sending Otis a text from Mandy's phone on the Valentine's night, on the Valentine's date that Mandy and Otis were having. So now Otis and Mandy know, And, well, everyone knows now that Sonya and Dolph had planned it all and he set up this whole thing. So I actually did think that Fire and Desire would split up in the end, but I didn't think it was going to be in this way. Like, I didn't think that Sonya was really going to stab Mandy in the back type thing. I thought it was going to be the other way around, where Mandy was going to probably stab Sonya in the back. But anyway, I did predict that they would split up. I don't always like the backstage footage stuff, like being linked with the storylines. For example, the Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan, when Roman Reigns was attacked. Like, it was a good little storyline. I don't know, it's just not something that I like. Like, don't get me wrong, when it's happening, it's okay to watch. I just don't prefer it. If there was another option, I would opt to have that other option. Probably no matter what it was. But to be fair, this storyline with Otis and Mandy Rose and Dolph has surprised me in how they've kept it moving forward. So I'm interested to see what happens at WrestleMania. My prediction for the match is going to be an Otis win. Now, that's actually changed from this Smackdown episode, because I thought that Mandy was going to be on Dolph's side, and with Mandy being on Dolph's side, I thought that either Mandy was going to cost Otis the match, or Tucker might indirectly cost Otis the match. But now it looks like Mandy is against Sonya and Dolph. It's going to build to an Otis win. I can only see it building to an Otis win. And what I want is an Otis win. I'm sure we all want Otis to beat Dolph. The way it's gone, I think there is only one option with Otis winning. As I've said before, I would have liked the whole Dolph and a female sort of like sidekick, manager, girlfriend, wife, whatever scenario they would have played out, like he's had with Lana, Vicky Guerrero, AJ Lee. He worked well with a female. Whether they're going to try that with Sonya, I don't know. But either way, if they would have angled this storyline in a different way, I would have probably gone with a Dolph win, just because I've quite enjoyed Dolph with a female. I just think he works well. But because of the way they've done it, I'm going to go with a prediction, Otis win, and what I want is an Otis win. Next up, we had Daniel Bryan versus Shinsuke Nakamura, which was a very, very technical match. Now, Sami Zayn was on commentary, Cesaro and Gulak were ringside. Now, both superstars worked very, very well together through the experience of them both. Now, I'm not always a fan of some of the loose, sort of like scatty style of Shinsuke, but in this match, he looked very sturdy, he looked strong in his moves, and even in the holds. Now, I mean, there was a jumping kick off the ropes that it just didn't work. It was a little bit like loose, as I say. It sort of like missed Daniel Bryan. But anyway, I'll leave that out, because overall the match was very, very good. As I said, Sammy on commentary sounding very annoyed. He sounded concerned about the Mania match against Bryan. The way he can flip his sort of like feelings, his personality and persona, he is just an absolute asset to commentary or mic work. He is very, very good. The thing is, for me, Gulak didn't have any real part to play, and I almost think what I've been saying for weeks now, if they don't book this right, he's just becoming irrelevant again. Now, Bryan is the bigger star and the main star, like he always was, but they're booking him still as the bigger star. Like, and this is shown by who has actually got the Mania match. So Gulak is simply just the sidekick on the outside. He doesn't really have any involvement, unlike Sammy on the commentary. And even Cesaro has little spots where he comes round and he's high-fiving Sammy. And he's also distracting the ref. And you just notice him a lot more. Where Gulak, he's just sort of like on the side. Now, of course, he doesn't have another sort of like friend in this storyline to go and high five, but he doesn't really do anything. He just sort of stands there. He's got both hands on the ring apron, and he's just sort of like saying a few things that you can't really hear. It doesn't really feel like he even needs to be there anymore. Now, Cesaro, his raw power and his strength was unbelievable after the match. Now, Shinsuke got the win. But after the match, he was throwing Gulak and Bryan through the steps onto the announce table for his strength. And then he needs a better finishing move, because they all got back in the ring and they all performed their own finishing move, all three of them in that little trio on Daniel Bryan. Now, for his strength, he has that neutralizer, which is very similar in a way. The similar landing, at least, to a Styles Clash. Now, I only really like the Styles Clash because AJ Styles does it. I don't really feel like the move is that painful. The neutralizer looks even less painful. So for me, when you have someone that strong, then you need sort of like an impactful move, like Brock Lesnar has the F5. John Cena had the FU, or the attitude adjustment. He could do something a lot bigger and a lot better that makes it look like he should be finishing someone off, which, looking back at some of his matches, I think that's why I sort of lost interest in him, because when he did win, I thought, how is someone getting pinned off that neutralizer? The same as what I've been saying, what I said earlier about linking back to like the Hulk Hogan days, that sort of era. Like the moves don't really look that painful, and I don't feel like a superstar should be getting pinned by a move like that. But anyway, that's just my opinion, because I prefer it to be believable, and I prefer it to look like you're getting hurt, because really that's what wrestling is. You're trying to beat up the other opponent to get the win. So my prediction for this match, it can only be a Sami Zayn retain, and what I want is a Sami Zayn retain. Like, the way they've built Bryan and Gulak, I don't want them to win. I don't want Bryan to win. Even if Gulak turns, I don't want Bryan to win. Now, of course, if Bryan won and then Gulak attacked him, it may be a little bit interesting, but no, for me, Sami Zayn is a great champion. He wins. If the trio stays together or it doesn't stay together, that is besides the point. I just think the way Sami Zayn has improved recently, and he's finally getting that exposure on the mic. Hopefully his in-ring ability at WrestleMania, it matches all of it, but we'll wait to see. But yeah, prediction Sami Zayn, what I want, Sami Zayn. So, to finish off Smackdown, we had John Cena come out. He cuts a promo in the ring addressing the announcement of the no audience situation, and then also the uncertainty and the unpredictability of WrestleMania for the 2-day event. Now, this leads to him not knowing what a Firefly Funhouse match is, and saying that not even Bray knows. Now, he says that the uncertainty leads to fear, to panic, to the collapse, saying that this is what the Fiend has, saying that he just collapses. Now, he says that he will not panic, he does not fear the Fiend, and he will beat Bray and finish what he started 6 years ago. Now, he has this quite passionate... Now, although it's probably scripted, it was sort of a real feel promo, which is what John Cena's about. He was saying that Bray isn't even on the level below him, and he's a bootleg version of Mr. Rogers, because Mr. Rogers has like 3 different characters, if I'm right. And he just completely destroys the Fiend's character, in comparisons for me, comparing him to Wiz Khalifa, and that's probably the dreadlocks and everything like that. Like, I just love John Cena's promos where he gets all personal and starts completely ripping into the superstar or the character. He goes on to accept the Firefly Funhouse match, and all the Funhouse puppets start appearing around the ring behind the barricade, and they start saying forever, all of them talking together. And then Ramblin' Rabbit says, "Oh no, he's here." Now, this is incredibly well done. The Fiend's darkness hits, that little noise, the darkness hits, and then when the lights return, the Fiend is on the platform. So that's the same platform that NXT have used, that Elias fell off when Baron Corbin hit him last week. And the Fiend is on there. He's just staring at John Cena in the ring. So they're staring at each other. And then suddenly, Firefly Bray turns up behind Cena and says, "Let me in his ear." And then again, the darkness hits. And John Cena looks spooked. When the lights come on, the Fiend has gone from the platform. Firefly Bray has gone from in the ring. Now, it's just incredible. Like, this is a fantastically performed and written segment, from the personal element about Cena's dislike of Bray and making light and joke of the Fiend's character, to then having the dark side and the mysterious element of the persona that we've all grown to love and grown to be intrigued by, with both the Fiend and both Firefly Bray involved. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if the Funhouse match, because it's all Bray's world and the creativeness and everything like that, if unfortunately, if Bray and the Fiend team up. Now, the fact that we've seen them together now, I hope this doesn't happen, because for me, as I've been talking about mostly this episode, or a lot this episode, it's the believability. Now, if you have Bray Wyatt and The Fiend working together, we all know that they're the same person. We all know it's basically an alter ego. It's something that's created from failure and the self-loathing within Bray Wyatt himself. So having the two together is just stupid, because it can only be done in a pre-recorded setting. Once this whole quarantine thing and the coronavirus is under wraps and we've got vaccines and everything, all life goes back to normal, how are they ever going to pull that off in ring? It's never going to happen. So it's just a bit stupid. If you think back to like Kane's Imposter in like 2006, was it? Like, it just didn't really work. But let's hope that the Fiend and Bray aren't in the same room together. I mean, don't get me wrong, you could have Bray, like Firefly Bray, attack Cena, and then they go into another room and the Fiend be there. Or if it's going to be in that type of like Firefly Funhouse match, which I'm predicting, which will be similar to that house match that Bray Wyatt had with Randy Orton or Matt Hardy back in the day, that you could even have a mannequin of the Fiend and John Cena goes after the Fiend and Firefly Funhouse Bray. So it's a bit of a tongue tangler, isn't it? But Firefly Bray attacks Cena when he's attacking his mannequin, and then they go into another room and the actual Fiend's there. Like, they could play it off like that. It'll be interesting. I don't really know what to expect, but I think it's going to be very intriguing. And to be honest, I don't think John Cena will let it be a bad match. I think he's experienced enough and he knows what he's doing to really like change it if it's not going to work. And with the creativeness from both of them working together, I think it's going to be good. My prediction for this is the Fiend win. And what I really want is John Cena win, to be honest. And I know I said I wasn't going to do this, but what I really want is a John Cena win, just because I'd like to see him get the 17th title victory. Just because I'd like for him, he's been the main guy of sort of my era in a way. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I was watching wrestling before John Cena even debuted, but he's been such a long stay in where I've really understood wrestling and watched it in a different light to what I did when I was younger, in the fact that I was simply just watching it because I loved it. Where now, obviously, I understand, you grow into the believability. You look at it slightly differently when you get older, just because you do. You don't live in fantasy land like you do as a little kid. It's a little bit disappointing when you grow up, because you can't really look at it like you did when you were younger. You don't really believe the fact that some of these masked men are actually monsters and stuff like that, if you see what I mean. So John Cena's been the real main guy for me, and I'd love to see him get the record. But for the actual storylines for WWE itself, I'm going to go Bray Wyatt. Like, John Cena's part-time. He's having a fantastic career in Hollywood at the moment, and all the movies that he's making, and he's got outside ventures as well. So just for WWE, for the storyline, for the going forward, the Fiend win, and then hopefully the Fiend somehow gets back into the title picture, because that was cut short by an absolutely poor decision to put it on Goldberg. Now, there's also been another announcement which was coming. It was predictable just because of all the rumours. The fact that obviously Roman Reigns is out of WrestleMania now and Braun Strowman is taking his place. I don't really know what else to say about this match apart from it's probably going to be poor. Both men aren't particularly great in the ring. Braun Strowman is a lot better than Goldberg. It'll probably be a very, very quick match because I can't see Goldberg lasting very long. And I think, unfortunately, my prediction is going to be a Goldberg retain. I think if Roman Reigns was there, then I think Roman Reigns would win. But yeah, my prediction would be a Goldberg win, and then as soon as Roman Reigns can compete, he will fight Goldberg as he was going to do at WrestleMania. What I want is obviously anything but Goldberg. So even if the bloody title went vacant, just get rid of Goldberg. I'm sorry, yes, he's a legend, a star, and if you like him, then fair enough. But no, not anymore. Just get rid of him. Retire. Thank you for what you've done, but sorry, just go. Come in now and again, just for the pictures, for the Hall of Fame, for the aspect that you're a legend. But in ring, no, just leave it now. So if that means a Braun Strowman win, then yeah, and then Roman Reigns could then fight Braun Strowman, which I'm sure would be a great match. Or even if Braun Strowman had a very short run like he did before, whatever way. That is what I want. So anyway, guys, thank you for listening. As I said, we'll see how many predictions I got right, and I'll bring you a Smackdown WrestleMania review after the weekend when we've all watched WrestleMania. I hope you enjoy it. It's going to be different. It's going to be a 2-day event. No fans, Performance Centre, all pre-recorded. We've got the Boneyard match, which is meant to be in some graveyard. We've got the Firefly Funhouse match, which we don't even know what to expect. We've got the Fatal 5-Way. We've got the ladder match. We've got title matches. We've got Drew McIntyre facing Brock. It's going to be brilliant. We've got obviously Goldberg versus Braun Strowman. We've got tag team matches. We've got everything. The Bill has got it all. I'm super excited. I hope you are too. Stay safe, guys, and enjoy WrestleMania.
You think you know me?